Let's see. We're in season 6.
Okay, so this is season 6.
Yeah.
So the last season was season 5, is what you're saying.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Alrighty.
Welcome to Power to the People podcast. We're back.
It's midterm season 2026.
Yes, and we're gonna help you vote. We're gonna keep you informed. We're not messing around this year.
Adrianne, I'm in Sweden. I vote in DC.
I'm Angela, and I live in Germany, and I vote in Florida.
Power to the people.
Power to the people. We're here today to talk about what happened last week at the Supreme Court with Louisiana versus Calais, where the Supreme Court struck down Louisiana's second majority Black congressional district, declaring that a race-conscious redistricting under Section 2 of the Voting Rights is unconstitutional. This was a 6-3 ruling with all the Republicans voting for it, and of course all the democratically appointed justices, the 3 democratically appointed justices, did not vote for it. Yeah, this is a sad day should be a sad day for everyone, because for more than 60 years, Section 2 has been the primary tool that communities of color have used to challenge discriminatory maps, especially after the same, well, not the exact same Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act preclearance system in 2013 with Shelby versus Holder. And now the court has eliminated the last operational safeguard against racial vote dilution. So, in the majority opinion by the really terrible man, Justice Samuel Alito, wrote that even when racial discrimination in voting is proving, many states are not intentionally creating a majority districts to remedy it. The court said that the plaintiffs can show intentional discrimination, not just discriminatory effects, and Section 2 cannot be used to require additional Black majority districts. Okay, this is a really dramatic shift, because for 2 decades, Section 2 cases did not require proof of intent. Justice Elena Kagan, in a blistering dissent, warned that the ruling eviscerates Section 2 and renders it all but a dead letter, allowing states to systematically dilute minority voting power without consequence. What do you think about that, Adrianne?
Well, we saw it coming.
Yeah.
We knew, to paraphrase our fabulous vice president, she said, we knew this was coming. I cried when I heard it. Just because you know something is coming doesn't mean that it's not upsetting. So I was literally in tears about it. I had to do some mindfulness, my vote matters, my vote matters. And remind myself to stay vigilant. And I'm going to read some quotes from some other people's reaction from this, from our number one president.
Okay.
Barack Hussein Obama. We call America an experiment for a reason. Democracy is far from guaranteed. Generation after generation have been called upon to make this country better. Time after time, we've seen groups of ordinary Americans organize, march, and sacrifice to persevere and strengthen democracy. Now it's our turn. So what do you think he means by that it's our turn?
Well, that we need to do something. That so many people have taken advantage of the rights that we obtained during the civil rights movement and not necessarily given anything back to support them, especially any number of people, Black Republicans like Clarence Thomas, that have used all the tools that were provided during the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act to get where they are, and then totally turn their back on where we all came from. Barack Obama's right. We all have to do something. And the main thing I think we have to do is continue to vote, because one of the things that I feel like Republicans are overestimating their ability to gerrymander. They're diluting all of the districts. They don't realize that's what they're doing, but they're taking districts that would have certainly been a minority majority where we could have had a black or other person of color as the representative. They're diluting the ones that were all sort of basically Republican to mix us all together.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Gerrymandering doesn't work. It's not good if anybody does it. And our House Minority Leader, Hakeem Sekou Jeffrey, says, given our history, we view setbacks as nothing more than a setup for a comeback. So come back to the polls. If you're an
Yes.
American abroad, go to votefromabroad.org. If you're a first-time voter, haven't voted for a long time, it doesn't matter. You put in your last voting address. If you're born
Yes.
abroad to Americans, you put in their last address and it'll walk you through the process. You want to make sure that you request to receive your ballot by email and then you follow all the directions for how you return it. Now, if you're stateside, they're really messing with you. They're messing with us too with mail ballots, but they're messing with you too. Be vigilant about your polling places. Go to iwillvote.com. I believe you can get notifications there because they're going to put you by your precinct. But make sure you check your polling places. Those can change. There's a professor, Angela. I don't know because you're good for professors and knowing a lot of books. I don't know if you know Damon L. Fordham. He's an adjunct professor of history at the Citadel.
Hmm. Interesting.
He has something to say. He said over the past week, the United States Supreme Court ruled 6-3 to end Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which called for federal review of changes in voting districts with histories of racial discrimination. While this does not specifically prohibit African Americans from voting, it is an area of concern for the following reasons. Number one, the precedent for this is ugly and real. In 1883, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the Civil Rights Act of 1875, which banned racial discrimination in public places during the Reconstruction era, was unconstitutional. Okay, now I'm just going to reiterate what he said. Area of concern for following reasons. In 1883, a Civil Rights Act law that was passed in 1875 to let us be around in open spaces with the other people,
That's right.
the court knocked that down as unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Number two, why this is concerning, according to Professor Damon L. Fordham of the Citadel. After this was accomplished in 1883, in spite of protests from Black leaders of the day, such as Bishop Henry McNeil Turner, the Southern states began to circumvent the 15th Amendment. Now, remember, the 15th Amendment is the amendment that gave African Americans the right to vote, which de facto everybody else that came after us, right?
That's right.
So the South tried to get around us having the right to vote by using literacy tests and poll taxes to deny blacks the right to vote. Doesn't all this sound similar, right? Number
Mm-hmm.
three, the Supreme Court. Yeah, number three, the Supreme Court sided with Mississippi in Williams versus Mississippi in 1989, agreeing that some restrictions were legal. The Supreme Court basically said, yeah, you can screw black
Mm-hmm.
people out of voting. This is in 1898. Now, let's get back to a century that we can maybe deal with. The number four reason why this is concerning. Now, these rulings were overturned by the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That's the one we all remember,
Right.
right? The one, all the marches, Pettus Bridge, and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So in 1964, it was the Civil Rights Act. 1965, the Voting Rights Act. Pause for a second. The problem with acts is they're acts. They expire. They're not bills. They're not laws. So you got to get an act over the line. So these things expired. Okay, so many people today do not know this history. And those that do know it, like us, we don't want to see it repeated.
Right.
Now maybe if you heard that for the first time, did you know that this has been a thing? The Supreme Court has been messing with us. And that's the story of America. Like, do the right thing, don't do the right thing. Oh, it's not fair because we were winning when we weren't doing the right thing. Let's go back to not doing the right thing. And that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of where we are now. That's kind of where we are now. The John Lewis Voting Rights Act was on the table in 2024, but what happened, people? What happened?
Well, what happened is that it passed the House, and then two senators who are no longer in the Senate, Sinema and Manchin, wouldn't let it be voted on.
It's also a lot of people, I look at it this way, they chose Gaza over voting rights.
Yes,
A
they
lot of
did.
people that were like, I can't be with the Dems, you're supporting genocide. You chose Gaza over what's happening in your own country where no
Actually,
Democrat is down for genocide, just for the record.
yeah, that is true. That people did choose, they chose the lives of other people over their own lives. And that was a mistake that hopefully people will stop making. Um, I understand fully why people would be distressed or upset or not want to participate in something like this, but to not vote and to let someone like Donald Trump get a hold of our government, um, it's
If people don't have buyer's remorse, if people aren't waking up, like I didn't think he would do it. If you're not there now, you're not going to ever be there, and that's okay. You'll get taken care of in the rapture. But since we are where we are now, we got to figure out how to get out of it. Now, some people's advice may be better than others. I tend to listen to Eric A. Holder
yes.
Jr. He's come and spoken with Democrats abroad. He says, moving forward, and I'm quoting, the remedy to sort this out of control, deeply ideological court must be a renewed commitment by the American people. That's you and I,
Hmm.
people, and those who represent them to pass new, durable voting rights legislation as well as reforms to our judicial system so that the Supreme Court is no longer held captive by a minority ideology that acts solely in the best interest of those who adhere to it. So he says we need a renewed commitment by the American people and the people that we vote in to pass durable voting rights legislation. So that means we have to vote these people in. So we have to
That's
vote
right.
the right people in. The right people in that are going to say, yeah, John Lewis Voting Rights Act, let's get this done. Let's codify this. It's too late to bemoan, oh, we had the White House for 8 years and we had the Senate for four. Why didn't we get this done back in any times of our lifetimes, from the time 1964 to where we are now? Why didn't we get this codified? We know now we got to get it codified, right? That needs to be the first
Yes.
thing a Democratic president does. Kind of like the first thing Obama did, 2008, Lilly Ledbetter Act, right? So women can have equal pay. So Angela
Mm.
and I are we're always here begging for you to vote, but also trying to let you know that it's not too late because I can understand how setbacks after setbacks, they just set us up for a comeback, right? So how are we going to come back? Right now is the midterms. We're midterming like crazy in May. My midterm is in
That's
June. It's
right.
the primary, So you got to pay attention. Make sure you're on the voting rolls for your primary. Do not miss your primary. There are other things
Yes.
than just who's going to be in the House on your primary. For example, in my town, my ballot is Attorney General, city is mayor. So
Yeah.
pay attention to what's on
Governor
your
in my
ballot.
case, all the state legislature, different judges, all these things, they're all on your primary ballot, and it's important to vote. And if you're like, I don't know who to vote for, then go to uh what is it?
You
Blue
got a
Voter
source for
Guide.
that. Yeah.
Bluevoterguide.org. And basically you just put in your voting address and then it gives you a list of everyone there. And it does include people from the other side of the aisle too, so you can look at where they stand and you can see what's recommended for a Democratic voter or a Democratic leaning voter to vote for. You can also see what's available, like I said, on the other side.
Let me
Or
tell you something from the Reverend Dr. William J. Barber II, the president and senior lecturer of repairs of the breach. He says the intended result of the Supreme Court decision to gut Section 2 of the Voting Rights, 1965 Voting Rights Act, as is clear to anyone who has observed elections in the South, is to restore congressional delegations from Southern states that represent the white majority. A return to the past that will harm most people, including the poor and low income white people who have benefited from legislation passed by more diverse legislatures over the past 60 years. Again, for the people in the back, poor white people, this is hurting you. Latino
yes,
people, this is hurting you. Rural people, this is hurting everyone except for um, Rich white men, they want to take it back to the founding fathers, where only rich white men who own property could vote. So they're rapidly, it seems, moving back to that. So this isn't just about, oh, poor black people, poor brown people, we don't care about them. Poor white people, and remember, you're the majority of the white people out there. You're not what's the percent that
One
owns the
1%,
wealth?
the one
You're
percent,
not the one
yes.
percenters.
Yeah,
You're
you're not
not
the
the
one
one
percent.
percenters. Stop trying to hang out with the one percenters. Stop wearing the one percenters caps, doing their slogans, and all of that. You're not one of them. Like Kendrick Lamar said, they're not like us. You're
Yeah.
not like them. You're not like them. Let you hear from one of our sister senators. And hopefully, we're gonna get some more sister senators this election. Senator Lisa Blount Rochester from Delaware. I
We've
said
had
it
her on an
before.
event too. She's
We've
very
had her
nice.
on. She's
Yes,
very
she's
nice.
yes, she's great, really.
That's
But
one
go
of the
ahead,
times when
sorry.
you're like, oh, no, I'm so glad you said that because she is a friend of DA. She's a friend of democracy. She comes from a little state, but she's got a lot of power because all senators have equal
Right,
power in the Senate, right?
that's right.
So, and it's so nice to hear that a nice person wins. You want a nice person. Forget
Hmm.
that myth that you got to be tough as nails in politics and, walk over people. Forget that's not the kind of leaders that we want. We want nice people like Lisa. And she says, I've said it before. Our democracy is under attack, and today, meaning the day the Supreme Court
Hmm.
struck another blow, for over 60 years, longer than I've been alive. The Voting Rights Act has been a symbol of a democracy inclusive of all Americans. Please, can we get back to that inclusive for all Americans?
Yes.
Representing the sacrifices made by Black civil rights activists for the right to vote. And let's be clear, we were frontline. We did have allies, Jewish and other white allies out there, but we were 90% frontline. I need to clue in the picture of John Lewis with his skull cracked right
Yeah.
now. Literally. Yet the Supreme Court has been systematically chipping away at that progress, dragging us backward. So while I'm not surprised by this ruling, I am devastated by what this will mean for the Americans whose voices will be silenced. This fight is far from over. My Democratic colleagues and I will continue to do everything in our power to protect and restore voting rights across the nation. Thank you, Lisa, for letting us know that the fight is not over. This fight is far from over. My Democratic colleagues and I will continue to do everything in our power to protect and restore voting rights.
Yeah.
So
You know,
we have to do our
I
power and show up.
we do. We do have to do our part, but I just
If
want
they're voting
to
for our voting rights, we have to exercise the rights that we have.
that's right. We have to
Don't
do
be
what we can.
disillusioned. Don't be disillusioned. Don't say, don't be like my cab driver that said, I didn't vote because I'm so mad I know Trump's going to win. Don't use some type of twisted logic
Yeah,
that I
just
can't
vote.
get my head around.
Just vote. It's the most important thing. It's not the only thing that you can do, but it is literally one of the most important things. And I, you know, my mom is 80 years old and she was born in Jim Crow. And in the 60s,
She's going to die in Jim Crow's. That's what it
yeah,
feels like.
well, I'm not gonna let that happen if I can, but it's like she was born in Jim Crow. And then the Civil Rights Act came in the 60s, and also Women's Rights Act came, in the 70s. Women got more rights in the 70s. They're systematically trying to take away our rights. And I'm not entirely sure. I realize they have a plan. They've had a plan for all this time. Honestly, these crazy people have had a plan since Social Security came into being a policy in the
Mm.
1940s.
Obviously, they have a plan. We're going to see if the Democrats have a plan and they're executing it. This Democrat, every Democrat has a responsibility. Mine is as a voter to vote. If you're in the States, go to iwillvote.com. Make sure that you haven't been bounced from the rolls. Make sure you know where your polling place is, that it hasn't, maybe all your life it was down the street and now it's not anymore and you didn't get noticed. If you're a DC voter like me, you need to bone up on ranked choice voting. We're doing that for the first time. I've seen that
Wow.
that is, yeah, they're having some webinars and stuff. So, instead of just, oh, I voted, that's it, we have to be more active as citizens. We need to hound these
Hmm.
people. We vote them in, we need to hound them.
But
We need to hound the people that we didn't vote for that represent us.
we also need to hound our friends, our families, our colleagues that may or may not vote, because we need to have everyone possible voting. So while there's still a chance for us all to vote, then we need to do that. And we need to outperform them at the polls.
Kelly
Okay.
Robinson is the president of the Human
Oh
Rights
yes,
Campaign.
that's right.
She's a gay woman. She's a black woman. So you run around black and gay, you scared as I don't know what in the States these days. If you
Yeah.
haven't been scared, gay, black, and a woman, we're not safe.
Well,
So the Supreme Court ruling, she says, allows extremists. This is what I mean. The extremists are empowered now. They've been
mm,
emboldened since the first time he was in. They're really emboldened now. So it
mm,
allows extremists to continue undercutting critical hard-fought protections like the Voting Rights Act and threatens the fundamental promise at the heart of our democracy. That promise is that
mm.
every voter deserves an equal voice in electing their government. Any attempt to silence the vote of even one American hurts all 300 million of us. So Angela is saying, look, they're trying to hurt all of us, and maybe you're not even using this voice. Do you realize this is a superpower that maybe you haven't
Yes.
unleashed that they're trying to take away from everybody else that looks a little bit like you or is maybe different from you? So regardless of what they're doing in their plan, they're going to do what they're going to do. What are you going to do? That's the
Yeah.
thing. What are you going to do? The only way we can stop them from doing what they're doing is getting them out of power. We can't rationalize with them. We can't talk with them. I'm not even sure if our legislatures can compromise with them. But
No, we
we just have
should
to get
not
rid
compromise with
of
them.
them. We
I'm
have to get rid
actually,
of them.
we have to get rid of them, and we have to hold them accountable for their actions. Is
Let's see if there are
also an
any
important part.
primaries. As before we leave you today, we're asking you to vote. Remember, the primaries are important because they weed out or help you vet or learn about who in your town, your state is running for office. So maybe right now there are debates that are going on, or there are articles in the newspaper, or you can listen to podcasts where people are putting themselves out. So if you don't know who's running, Angela recommends Blue Voter. I'm going to say it wrong, but I'm going to have it in the notes.
Bluevoterguide.org.
Blue Voter
Blue
Guide.
voter.
I always say it wrong. Yeah. Bluevoterguide.org so that you can go and see. And depending on your state, you may have a really heavy ballot. And if you're living abroad, you're like, I don't know who this person is. But you're going to take the time to do the research. That's part of the work. Now it can be fun work. Um, a lot of people win just because they ask for your vote. So if somebody comes and canvasses you or calls, take the time to talk with them, find out where they're coming from. I've heard people say they won because they were the only person that asked for the vote. Some incumbents think that they're safe.
I wanted to say that May 12th is Nebraska and West Virginia. May 19th is Alabama, Georgia, Idaho, Kentucky, Oregon, Pennsylvania. And May 26th is the Texas runoff, but that's just for Republicans. June 2nd is California, Iowa, Minnesota, New Jersey, New Mexico, and South Dakota. So doesn't matter what state you're in, doesn't matter what state you vote in. Request your absentee ballot if you're abroad. Make sure that you're registered if you're living in the US. Um, and then vote, because they have that expression, vote like your life depends on it. Well, that's where we are now. People have been saying
It
that,
does.
and people have been kind of ignoring it or taking it as a cliche, but we have to get serious now.
And so we're going to close with the message from Ken Martin. Because I'm not going to bemoan about the future of America. I'm afraid. It's scary times. Nobody that looks like me has ever walked any street, field, or whatever of America before It was called America. It was okay. It's the same. But I'm like, if you don't vote, it's just going to get worse. So I'm like here to get you voting. It's bad. It's been bad. Do
Yeah.
you want it to get worse? Ken Martin said, today is a dark day for America. Now, I'm reading this on May 5th. I could read this any day. But on this particular day, the day is dark because the Supreme Court rolled back the clock on the civil rights movement. The GOP captured Supreme Court just effectively killed Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, a major step back in the fight for racial justice and fair representation. Now, while today's decision is a gut punch, made me cry. I started off by saying that. Make no mistake, Democrats will fight tooth and nail to ensure the voices of all Americans will be heard in November and every election that follows. So do what Angela said, vote. Votefromabroad.org or iwillvote.org.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to vote. And everybody take care of yourself out there. If we speak out, if we vote, they want to wear us down, but we're not going to let them. So let's go forward and let's make a difference. Thanks for listening today.
Hey there, U.S. citizens abroad. Did you know that U.S. citizens overseas have a right to vote in U.S. elections? Well, you do, and your votes count. Your votes made a big difference in key races in 2016 and 2020. And what do you have to do? Register at votefromabroad.org. Here's a tip. If you request your ballot by email, all you have to do is vote and send it back. I love that even though you're all over the globe, you still give a damn about your country. Anyone out there that knows an American, please tell them to register to vote at votefromabroad.org. Appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of the Power to the People podcast. Don't forget to go to votefromabroad.org if you're an American outside of the U.S.
And if you're living in the United States, go to iwillvote.com and check you're registered. Also, go to democratsabroad.org/events and come and see all the magic that we're making.
Power to the people, y'all.
Power to the people.